Myself Ms. Tejasri Kosbe, lecturer from Praveen Patil Polytechnic, Bhayandar. My subject is maintenance of electrical equipment. In this chapter 5 is maintenance of electrical machine installation, part 1. Learning outcomes. At the end of this video, you will learn about insulating material, properties of insulating materials, and classification of insulating materials. So first, insulating materials. Insulating materials exist in three forms. First form is solid, liquid and gaseous. So in solid form, insulating materials are wood, paper, plastic, rubber, mica, bakelite, polystyrene, porcelain, asbestos and ceramic. And in liquid forms, insulating materials are varnish, mineral oil, petroleum oils and hydrocarbons. And in gaseous forms, insulating materials are air, aseptic gas, nitrogen, H2 and CO2, carbon dioxide. Next topic is properties of insulating materials. So first properties is electrical properties. In that, first property is insulation resistance, second is dielectric strength. So first is insulation resistance. So insulation resistance are two types. First is volume resistance and second surface resistance. So volume resistance is the resistance offered to the current which flows straight through the volume of insulating material, and surface resistance is the resistance offered to the current which flows over the surface of the insulating material. So the insulating material should have a high value of volume resistance and surface resistance. Second property is dielectric strength. So insulation damages at the large voltages. So dielectric strength of the insulation is defined as the value of minimum voltage at which the material loses its insulating properties and breakdown occurs, and it is expressed in kV per mm, that is kilovolts per unit mm thickness of insulation. So it is expected that the material should have a greater dielectric strength. Second properties are the mechanical properties. In that, the first property is mechanical strength, second viscosity, third porosity and fourth is solubility. So first is mechanical strength. The insulation should be strong enough to withstand vibration. Its tensile strength should be more. It should be tough enough. It should not break when elongated, and it should have good flexibility. And for a varnish insulation, it should have a good bonding property. And next is the viscosity. So in case of liquid insulation like oil, varnish, the viscosity should be less so that it can fill the voids. Low viscosity helps in quick transmission of heat. Next property is porosity. Material should be non-porous so that it will not absorb humidity, moisture, otherwise it loses its insulating properties. Fourth property is solubility. So they should not be dissolved when come in contact with water, moisture or acid during operation. Next properties are thermal properties. So first property is thermal stability, second melting point, third is heat resistance and fourth is ignitability. So first is thermal stability. The material should remain stable without damaging their electrical or mechanical properties within the allowed temperature limits. Second is melting point. So it should be sufficiently higher than working temperature. Third is heat resistance. It should be able to withstand temperature variations without losing its electrical and mechanical properties. Fourth one is ignitability. So the materials if exposed to arcing, that is in case of insulators, switches, bushings and horns, so should be non-ignitable. These materials should be self-extinguishing and should be resistant to carbonization. So thermal expansion and contraction due to variation in temperature should be very small in insulating material. Next properties are chemical properties. In that, the first is resistance to external chemical effects, second, effects on other material, third is chemical changes in the material, fourth is hygroscopy, and fifth one is aging. So first is resistance to external chemical effects. The material come in contact with some chemicals like acids, solvents, oils, alkalis. The material should be resistant to these chemicals and should remain stable and unaffected. Second property is effects on other materials. The insulating materials, if come in contact with other materials, should not affect these materials. The insulating materials should not have direct solvent acting on the other materials to avoid deterioration. Next is chemical changes in the material. So during the use of the material, certain chemical changes may take place. The insulating material should not lose their properties due to these unavoidable changes. Fourth one is hygroscopy. So absorption of moisture from the atmosphere by the insulating material is called as hygroscopy. The insulating material should be non-hygroscopic. The moisture affects the insulating properties of the materials. And last one, that is fifth one, is aging. Due to long-term use, the material is affected by heat, chemical actions, voltage applications, and finally deteriorates. The insulating material should have a long life. So these are the various properties of the insulating materials. Next topic is classification of insulating materials. So first class is Y or O. In that class, the insulating materials are cotton, silk, paper, vulcanized fiber goods, PVC, VIR, etc. And uses of these insulating materials are always used with impregnation, and maximum operating temperature in degree Celsius is 90 degrees Celsius. For A class, insulating materials are cotton, silk, paper press, vulcanized fibers, wood, etc. Impregnated dielectric oil or varnish, also some type of wire element. Uses are lateroid paper as slot insulation, cotton covered wires impregnated in shellac, varnish slot, wedges, etc. Maximum operator temperature is 105 degrees Celsius. Next class is E class. Insulating materials are lateroid paper, polyvinyl acetyl enamel for super enameled conductors, epoxy resins, cotton fabrics, and paper laminates molding with cellulose fibers. Uses are slot insulation, winding wires, insulation, insulating molding with epoxy resin in case of chokes, CT, etc. And maximum operating temperature is 120 degrees Celsius. For class B insulation, insulating materials are glass fiber, asbestos, mica, built-up mica, glass fiber, mica laminates, etc. with bonding substances like shellac, bituminous compounds, epoxy resins, etc. Uses are slot liners, phase separators, etc., insulating tape, binding cord, etc., polyester enamel conductors, and maximum operating temperature is 130 degrees Celsius. For class F insulation, insulating materials are glass fiber, asbestos, mica, varnish glass, fiber textile, built-up mica, etc. with bonding substances like epoxy and silicon alkyl resins. Uses are slot liners, separators, tape squats, etc. Polysteramide enamel or fiberglass braided and varnished with polyurethane wires for coils, and maximum operating temperature is 155 degrees Celsius. For class H insulation, insulating materials are same material as for class with suitable binding materials, that is silicon based glass fabric, flexible micanite with suitable resins of polyamide films, glass fabric tape or cord with silicone elastomer cover. Uses are slot liners, insulation tapes, separators, conductor insulation, cord for binding sleeves, etc. And maximum operating temperature is 180 degrees Celsius. Next class is C class. Insulating materials are mica, porcelain, ceramics, glass, quartz, asbestos, treated asbestos with inorganic binders such as glass or cement and silicone resins, slate, marble. And uses are same as class H, also insulating material in ovens, etc. And temperature is above 180 degrees Celsius. Next topic is factors affecting life of insulating material. So first is temperature, second absorption of moisture, third is mechanical stresses, fourth is thermal stresses, fifth electrical stresses, sixth is deposition of dust, dirt, oil, and seventh one is impurities. So first is temperature. The insulation resistance decreases with temperature. The dielectric loss increases with temperature. The resistivity of the insulating material decreases by increasing in temperature. Second is absorption of moisture. The absorption of moisture by insulating material decreases its surface resistance. So it causes insulation failure or breakdown when they are exposed to atmosphere. The moisture affects the mechanical strength of the insulating material. Next, third is mechanical stresses. So mechanical stresses are developed in the material due to electromechanical forces, stresses during running condition, which is true for rotating electrical machines. It develops very small cracks in the insulating material, hence reduces the life of insulating material. Fourth one is thermal stresses. The heat is produced in the insulating material due to dielectric loss, copper loss in the conductor. Heat produced by copper loss in the conductor is absorbed by nearby insulating material. If sufficient and proper ventilation and cooling is not provided, then the insulating material loses its thermal stability, which reduces the life of insulating material. Thermal stability means the heat developed in the insulating material should be equal to heat thrown out by the insulating material. Fifth one is electrical stresses. So during lightning, heavy impulse surge voltages come across the insulating materials. Even switching produces voltage surges. Such transient voltage, when greater than the breakdown voltage of insulating material, punctures or breaks insulating material and the insulating material loses its insulating property. Sixth one is deposition of dust, dirt, oil. The surrounding atmosphere contains dust, dirt particles. These are accumulated over the electrical machine and the dirt, dust reduces the insulation resistance. Thus the insulation becomes weak. Last one is impurities. So impurities present in the insulating material reduces the insulation resistance as well as the dielectric strength. So these are the factors from this, all about these factors are affecting the life of insulating material. Next topic is measurement of insulation resistance. In this first method is by using Megger and second method is by using voltmeter method. So first is Megger. This is the diagram of Megger. In this 1 and 2 are the two coils which are called as deflecting coil and controlling coil. 3 and 4 are pointer and scale. 5th and 6th are the resistances which are used for controlling purposes. And 7th is the DC generator, hand driven generator, and 8 are the magnets. So working of each part. First and 2 are the control and deflecting coil. They are typically mounted on each other at an angle of 90 degrees and linked to the generator in a parallel manner. The polarities are in such a way that the torque developed by these coils is in the opposite direction. 3 and 4 scale and pointer. A pointer is tied to the coils and end of the pointer moves on a meter scale having a range between 0 and infinity. The scale is calibrated in ohms. 5 and 6 are the pressure coil and current coil resistances. They provide protection against any damage in case of low external resistance under test. 7th is the DC generator or battery connection. In manually operated Megger, a DC generator provides test voltage, while in digital type Megger, this is done by battery or voltage charger. 8th is the permanent magnets. Permanent magnets generate a magnetizing effect in order to deflect the pointer. Next method is insulation resistance measurement by voltmeter method. In this diagram you can see there is a DC supply, next is a voltmeter having range 0 to 500 volt, and the connection is made to this motor by using this switch. This method can be used when a Megger is not available. A high resistance DC voltmeter with a range of 500 to 600 volts may be used to determine the insulation resistance, provided that the sensitivity of the meter is 100 ohms per volt or higher. Voltmeter readings are recorded with the single pole switch closed and with open. The insulation resistance is determined by using the following relation, which is given by IR is equal to RM in bracket V1 minus V2 upon V2. IR is the insulation resistance, RM is the resistance of voltmeter, V1 is the voltmeter reading when switch closed, V2 is the voltmeter reading when switch is open. Next topic is dielectric absorption test by using hand-driven Megger. The insulation resistance is measured at a regular interval of 30 minutes and recorded. Finally, a graph is plotted by taking time on x-axis and Megger reading in megaohm on y-axis. From the graph, the condition of insulation is interpreted, mostly used when previous record is not available. The dielectric absorption ratio is defined as the 60-second reading to 30-second reading. It's called as the dielectric absorption ratio. Dielectric absorption ratio is equal to 60th second reading of Megger upon 30th second reading of Megger. So DR ratio is below 1.25 indicates poor insulation. So interpretation of condition of insulation. So from the dielectric absorption test by using Megger, the graph of insulation resistance versus time in minutes is plotted as below. So there are the graph insulation resistance versus time in minutes are plotted. So if the graph shows steady increase in A, that is in resistance, then insulation is clean and dry. And if the graph shows steady line or constant line like graph B, then the insulation is dirty, moist. Hence the insulation should be clean and dried. So graph A shows the better insulation, or you can say clean and dry insulation, and graph B shows the insulation which is dirty. Next topic is polarization index by Megger. Insulation resistance of the machine under test is measured after 1 minute and after 10 minutes. Then polarization index is equal to insulation resistance after 10 minutes upon insulation resistance after 1 minute. So it should be greater than 1.5 for class A insulation and it should be greater than 2 for class B insulation. So from the polarization index method, for class A insulation, if the polarization index is greater than 1.5, then the quality of insulation is good. So the widespread of the curves indicate the presence of moisture greater than 25% difference in the resistance with the application of 1 to 4% of the test voltage is reasonable indication of moisture. So it is recommended to determine moisture absorbed by the winding. Thank you.